For more than 18 years, Neil Jedded ran an upmarket seafood restaurant overlooking a prime waterfront position in Brisbane's east. But in late 2018, it all came crashing down.
It's absolutely devastating. You know, I try to move on, and I do it to provide for my family.
And the reason for this disaster, he believes, is in part because he made a complaint to an independent integrity body about public servants and a senior Labor figure.
And now it's obviously, I'm hoping for justice. I'm hoping for accountabilities.
Neil Jedded's problems began 4 years ago. He was struggling to secure a long-term lease for his restaurant from the building's owner, the Queensland Department of Transport and Main Roads.
Born and bred on Labor values.
So he engaged someone with political clout to help him, Labor's Jim Sooley.
People who introduced us to Jim Sooley, they recommended he's the right person to engage with your lobbyist, and he knows a lot of people up in the government and high up in the food chain.
Jim Sooley is a well-known Labor figure in Queensland, having served as Lord Mayor of Brisbane for more than a decade. In court documents in a subsequent civil case, Mr Sooley admits to receiving $2,500 from Neil Jedded to help him secure a long-term lease. The former restaurateur says the payment was made in cash in this car park.
First time he come in down and he showed me in his phone, his Wikipedia, he's a registered lobbyist, he's done lobby work, and he knows Mark Bailey, which is Mark Bailey at the time. He was the landlord of my restaurant.
The minister?
Minister Mark Bailey.
But Neil Jedded didn't get his long-term lease. The business relationship fell apart, and it's now the subject of a civil court action, with the restaurateur alleging the former Lord Mayor illegally misrepresented himself as a registered lobbyist. Jim Sooley denies that claim and argues he was merely a commercial consultant and declined to be interviewed. But in relation to Neil Jedded's claims, he told 7:30,
"He's lying. He lied from the beginning and he'll continue lying. It's old news."
In 2020, Neil Jedded decided to take the matter further.
For the purpose of the record, I am Dr Nicola Stepanov, the Queensland Integrity Commissioner.
The restaurateur lodged an official complaint with Queensland's Integrity Commissioner, who oversees the state's lobbying register. The complaint was lodged on September the 9th, 2020. 5 days later, Neil Jedded got some bad news. The Department of Transport and Main Roads gave him notice that his lease was to be terminated, ending his restaurant business.
I believe it's something suspicious there, no doubt about that.
When you say something's there was a link between your complaint and the decision to terminate.
Absolutely. I'm now, I believe that.
The Minister Mark Bailey, who admitted to having a brief conversation with Mr Sooley in 2018 about Mr Jedded's case, denies there was any link to the decision to terminate the lease.
The minister had no decision-making role. Colliers International ran an independent expression of interest process. The department has been advised that Mr Jedded's company, Green Beacon, was unsuccessful as the offers made fell significantly short of market expectations.
What Neil Jedded didn't know back in 2020 was that the Integrity Commissioner had other issues she was contending with which have only recently come to light. 7:30 understands Commissioner Dr Nicola Stepanov complained to the Public Service Commissioner in October of that year about the security of some of her confidential information.
It's pretty clear that the documentation was the result of the Integrity Commissioner's part complete investigation of lobbying or particular cases of lobbying.
The Commissioner asked for a forensic examination of an office laptop, a request that was denied. This laptop, for reasons that haven't been fully explained, was later removed from the office and the contents erased. Although the Integrity Commissioner has declined to say exactly what was on the laptop, she told a parliamentary inquiry it included material relevant to ongoing legal proceedings and investigations.
We're looking not very far away from a contempt of the Parliament charge, potentially against whoever destroyed the documents.
The mystery over the laptop is now being investigated by the Crime and Corruption Commission. But apart from this, the Integrity Commissioner also raised concerns over a number of years about resources and the independence of her office.
The Integrity Commissioner is an unusual arrangement where it's a statutory office holder, but there is no office of the Integrity Commissioner.
Resourcing and budgeting and staff has always been a vexed issue.
Is it a problem?
Yes.
Howard Witten is a former ethics advisor to the Queensland Government who wrote the original legislation for the Integrity Commissioner.
When you've got an independent officer who's doing an important integrity function, one would have thought that the government of the day would be interested to ensure that it was actually workable.
The controversy does throw up some serious questions for the Palaszczuk government. Why was it so reluctant to better resource and empower its Integrity Commissioner? And to what extent are senior public servants subject to political pressure? Well, one person who worked in another part of the Queensland government says he's seen firsthand how that political pressure is applied.
The culture is the biggest issue for me, is that there's a culture whereby necessity or choice, public servants look after the interests of the politicians or the government or in general, rather than the public interest.
Former Queensland archivist Mike Summerall said another public servant passed on a message to remove politically embarrassing material about a minister's use of private emails from the 2017-18 annual report.
Whether that message came from a minister, whether it came from someone else in the official world, I don't know. It was very clear that it was in a tone of, they've asked this to be removed.
After weeks of resisting calls for a broader inquiry into integrity issues, the Queensland Premier on Friday finally relented.
I want to assure Queenslanders that I have been listening and I've listened, and my government absolutely intends to act.
There'll be a 4-month independent review of the state government's culture and accountability.
I acknowledge we can always do better. I have said that time and time again, and I pride myself in integrity and transparency in government.
A government which likes to champion its integrity credentials is being forced to have a good hard look at itself.
Things have got a bit relaxed, we keep hearing, since Fitzgerald Mark 1, which is to say 1991.
The checks and balances are not working. In the overall framework, things fall through the gaps.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.